Hi everyone, Megan Stoner from Yates Fieldhouse joining you this week for episode 2 of Nutrition Intermission, where we're diving into GMO and non-GMO products. We're talking a little bit about conventional and organic farming and produce, and then we'll wrap up today with 2 recipes for some popcorn that you can make at home in your microwave. So to start out, we are connecting on what a GMO is. So a GMO is a genetically modified organism, whether that's a plant, an animal, or a microorganism, where their genetic makeup has been modified in a laboratory setting, either using genetic engineering or transgenic technology. So it creates a combination of plants, animals, bacterial, or virus with genes that don't occur naturally or through traditional crossbreeding methods. So a vast number of the packaged foods that we consume contain ingredients derived from corn, soy, canola, and sugar beets. And these are on the list of approved GMO products in the United States. Additionally, alfalfa, cotton, papaya, some forms of squash and zucchini, Arctic apples, and innate potatoes are also approved to be grown in the United States. So how might you avoid genetically modified foods? So you can avoid processed foods that include these ingredients, the corn, the soy, canola oil, and sugar beets, and cotton, because about 70% of the processed foods in the U.S. In retail stores, and restaurants actually are derived from these genetically engineered products. So half the sugar used in food products also comes from the genetically modified sugar beet. You can additionally look for the non-GMO product label. So this comes from the Non GMO project. And these foods have gone through a vigorous testing protocol and verification process to minimize the risk of GMO contamination. And these are your best assurance against GMO products. So definitely check out the Non GMO project for more information on this. Moving along into conventional farming. So conventional farming methods utilize chemical fertilizers to enhance plant growth. Conventional foods are made using pesticides and chemical herbicides. On the other hand, organic foods refer to agricultural products that are grown and processed without the use of fertilizers, growth regulators, livestock feeds, pesticides, additives, and bioengineered genes. Organic farming is controlled by regulations that differ from country to country, and the main concept of organic farming is to grow food without the use of synthetic materials or genetically modified crops. So how can you identify these in the grocery store on your produce? Let's talk a little bit about PLUs. PLUs are also known as price lookup codes, and it's usually a 4 or 5 digit code on a fresh produce item that you'll see. It's that pesky little sticker that sometimes is really hard to get off, but it identifies produce items based upon commodity, variety, and size group. So produce that is conventionally grown has a 4-digit PLU code, and it usually begins with a 3 or a 4. Organically grown produce has a 5-digit code and starts with a 9. And genetically modified produce typically has a 5-digit code as well, but it's going to start with the number 8. So that's all of our education for this week. We're about to dive into our recipes. So we're going to switch views so you can see what we're doing and how we're going to make this. Okay, so we're going to begin our first recipe. And to start off, we're going to make our popcorn just for both recipes. So I have a 1/4 cup of popcorn kernels here. I have some avocado oil. You can use any oil that you would like, and also a little bit of salt. So I wanted to show you all, we talked a little bit about that non-GMO project label. You'll see that here on the popcorn, and you also see it here on the oil that I'm using. So to start, we're going to grab a bowl, and we're going to take our 1/2 cup of popcorn kernels and add it there. And then we're going to add about a teaspoon of oil to coat our popcorn kernels, so we'll add that in next. Perfect. Great. Now we are going to add a pinch or two of salt. So whatever is your fancy, feel free to have at it. Perfect. And we're going to give that a little bit of a stir. Awesome. Now I want you to use your brown lunch paper bag from childhood. We're going to go ahead and open that up and add our popcorn kernels to that bag. Wonderful. Good. Next, we're actually going to close the bag. So we're going to give it 2 nice big folds and then give it a good crease. And then you're going to take this bag and you're going to place it in your microwave for 2 to 3 minutes, just depending on the power of your microwave. So I actually already have some popped for us. So you'll see nice, awesome big kernel popcorn right in there. And I'm going to separate it between 2 bowls because we actually have 2 recipes today that we're going to tackle. So I'll add a little bit to this first bowl. Perfect. And then to our second. Awesome. So for our first recipe, we're going to be doing a little bit of cinnamon sugar. So I have a tablespoon of powdered sugar here, and then also about half a teaspoon of cinnamon and a little bit of salt. So I'm going to add those together. Give this a little bit of a stir. Perfect. And then I'm going to sprinkle it over our popcorn. Give that a nice little toss. And there you have our cinnamon sugar popcorn. Awesome. So our second recipe is a little bit of a spicy, salty recipe. So I have about a teaspoon of salt and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And also about a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin and a teaspoon of chili powder. So I'm going to combine the 2 together. Give that a nice little stir. And once I've got it well combined, I will go ahead and add it to our popcorn. Give it a nice toss. And there you have our salty, spicy popcorn. Salty, spicy, nice and sweet. Whatever you choose, can't be beat. Thanks again for joining me this week for our second episode. I look forward to connecting with you next week. If you happen to test out our recipes, please tag us or send us a direct message. We'd love to feature you. Thanks and have a good one, everyone.